Now we get to see the whole map for the whole map for MpT. I just completely messed that up. That was DoD's home map. They just lost their own home map, so now we get MpT's home map. Which, okay, that makes sense. So this map typically favors Egyptians pretty strongly. So I was wondering why DoD would pick it, but I was wrong. This is the home map of MpT now. So they just beat DoD on DoD's home map, so MpT's in the driver's seat for the #1 seed for sure at this point then. Especially in 2 versus 2. Basically the way this maps and why it works and why it's so strong for Egyptians is you have the waterways on the side here that are typically extremely narrow. So as Egyptian with docks just costing 50 gold, you can spam a lot of them and, along the shore, put fishing ships in them, and it makes it extremely hard for your opponent to fight you and win water because you're basically defending with dock fire constantly all along the coast. You basically can put a dock on every sort of fishing patch you have to an extent. So you see the bad wood comment coming up from green. That's referring to the fact that he doesn't have like a large wood pack anywhere near his town center. I don't know if there's one out scouted, but this one would seem to be his closest, or the only one in sight at least. I was gonna say, it also looks like Bert's going for a rather food-heavy opening. 5 villagers on food, another villager building 2 docks, and now houses. Typically you only really need 3 villagers on food to maintain constant villager production, as a ISIS or Egyptian in general for that matter. So he probably could have put another 2 villagers on wood sooner, which would have resulted in pumping out more fishing ships sooner, so I think we'll notice that. Blue has 3 ships out. Green just got a second. I think the deconstruct is going to mess up the timing of the fishing ships that I was going to use to prove my point. But you could see Blue only put 3 on food, so Blue going with a slightly more optimized build is just what I was getting at. Nothing game breaking though. You can overall play will decide the game much more than a small build order difference, especially in a large map like this. So you see Bird asking if there's a plan of whether to go fast heroic or fight classical, and Count's just saying win your side, so whatever you feel gives the best option for you to win, depending on how your opponent's pressuring and playing you, so see how each of them plays out. Other thing to note with Bird is because of the wood screw, he's been leaving his villagers on the wood near his town center instead of moving out and actually building a lumber camp, so he's going to lose a lot of efficiency in the walk time. It's probably a good 2 or 3 times more walk distance than you typically would have at a lumber camp, so some minor things that are going to put green a little further behind blue. That said, blue is against the Chronos player, so as we saw, he did get his original dock deconstructed, which slowed him a teeny bit, whereas green's against an Aranos player, so he doesn't have to worry about the deconstruct. See the Chronos shifting the temple forward and advancing. He'll take classical roughly about 4 minutes and 30 seconds, same with red. Yep, the oracles are in position for the Valor, and you'll also have the Prometheans coming out of the temple to assist with taking down the docks. See the 4th dock coming up from blue, so hopefully he builds another afterwards, because between deconstruct and this pressure, blue's going to be losing docks pretty quickly, so spamming as many as ahead of time as possible will work well. A 6-minute classical coming out from blue though, so that could make things a little shaky for him on water. With this kind of pressure on land taking out his docks, plus the whole minute 30-second faster advance and the hard ship play from Teal, I think Teal might pick up the clean water win here. I don't know what blue has in store, but it's good that he's continuing to build docks down here, but this could get a bit dicey. As you see, green on the other side with the much faster classical time. Looks like he got there early 5 minutes. I missed the specifics, but as a result, green's able to get ships out early to defend and hold off red, so green's still fishing. Whereas blue has been knocked off a lot of his fishing already. I'm surprised Teal didn't play more aggressive and knock him off the rest of it sooner. Also potentially stopping the building of additional docks. Got the priest in position from blue, and he just got classical, so still with the now 3 dock production. Although if blue loses this dock, he's going to be down to 2 docks. That said, I think Teal lost a ship or 2 already due to the dock fire. Like as you just saw there, fighting there, Teal had one of his ships getting pounded by both docks, as well as the 2 arrow ships from blue, so Teal still with the overwhelming numbers, and blue about to go down to 2 docks. Teal stops this from building, it's going to be hard for blue to win water, because Teal's been producing off of 2 docks on his end the whole time. So if blue's advanced a minute 30 seconds later and is on the same number of docks production-wise at the moment, looks like blue's going to get this dock up by way of fishing ships. Fishing ships can build, so especially if he puts him in passive stance and keeps the ship still building. Blue should get that 3rd dock up, which would be huge for him. Blue does. Would like to see even the Sphinx from blue can come finish off these Promethean offspring. Another priest, his pharaoh. I'd like to see him trying to stop the land push. He doesn't want to get down to 2 docks again, because there's no way to get a 3rd dock up this time. That said, defender's advantage is definitely working in blue's favor. The second his ships come out, they join the battle, whereas Teal has to go all the way across the map here. Been following the action up top, but you can see just looking at the mini-map down bottom, it looks like they've been stalemated and going back and forth with large classical ship armies, so don't think we've seen any real damage down bottom. I do like the fact that green, realizing it's stalemated, got the fishing ship upgrade early. That's good. Bit of miss micro here from green. Again, people typically don't attack move in this game because the attack move command's broken, so you've really got to watch your army when you send it across the map using move commands. Because if you end up crossing the path of your enemy earlier than expected, then they'll just be attacking you while you're running by and you'll take losses, so green lost a few ships there as a result. Blue cutting production. Well, Teal's still pumping the ships out. That said, blue does have he's still relatively even at this point, and he just got another dock up, or repaired his dock it seems. No ships garrisoned in this dock at the moment, so even though blue's fighting on it, he didn't get the benefits of the fire. He just garrisons them now. Down to the bottom, we've got a stalemate. Got our early 2nd town center from green and red both, so that'll cancel out a bit. You see blue moving out and taking his 3rd town center here. Also very nicely done using the Sphinx to kill the wolves. Especially if you're going to send a smaller pack of villagers there, you don't want to run them right into a pack of wolves, so using the Sphinx ahead of time to clear that out is always a nice thing to do. Okay, see the fishing from blue, or fishing upgrade from blue as well. Red's got it as well. I'm surprised teal hasn't gotten it, especially pumping that many ships across the map. Without having fully knocked them off and at least securing your own fishing, definitely would have been worth it to lose a ship and a half to get the fishing upgrade for teal. He's got enough fishing and has been fishing long enough to justify the cost easily. Teal's also done a decent job on blue, knocking him from I think roughly 5 spots down to 3 for a while, and now blue's down to just 6 fishing spots as a result of this pressure from teal here. Although blue does have enough ships garrisoned from his original spots that he can just retake this third one as soon as he clears, which he's doing, again, as a result from the dock fire. 2 docks joining that battle for blue. Green moving out to take his third here, but he's got no army, and red's got an army, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. Sooner green realizes it and pushes back, the better. Bit of a late reaction there from green. He's going to lose a lot of these villagers as a result. And he doesn't have the land army at this point to push back and try to retake that position. At this point, I'd love to see red send a villager to try to take this position himself. He should realize that he's got the significant land advantage at this point, based on 0 pushback from green, so use that opportunity to fortify that position. The only problem with trying to fortify this position if you're red, though, is blue's located right here with his position, so wall up here from blue, mid goal to fortify that position, and that allows the easy double team from blue and green to retake green's third town center, while teal can't really do much, so. As I mentioned that I'd like to see the fortification of this position for red, I now take that back, and that it probably would be a bad idea, as he's too forward of a position at this point in the game. Especially with the way the cliff's set up, that would allow blue to easily double him without taking damage himself, so. Red using his overwhelming numbers to push green back a bit. Decent position for green, but red still got such overwhelming numbers that I'm not sure it was worth it to fight at that point. Also see green losing more units as they path out. There's this double team I mentioned. Blue sending some units in to help. Teal pushing forward, but again, this town center being here makes it a bit harder for teal to come help. That said, the timing's right. Nobody's heroic yet, so these positions aren't fortified nearly as much as they will be in a bit. No mid goals to add fire, and fewer buildings and walls to block pathing, so now definitely was the time to attack. Interesting here to see teal focus down the monument. I don't know if they've got something planned there. They don't really. I guess that opens up the possibility. I was gonna say for shockwave, but I forgot one of them's Chronos and the other just uses shockwave, so it won't be up for a while. So not sure why teal felt the need to take down that monument at that point. I missed it down here with the land action, but it looks like there was a trade-off from red to take this land control, and that was losing water. Meanwhile, a very nice Ancestors Eclipse from green's going to allow him to take that town center, trapping a lot of units, red's units in pathing. Oh, that's easily going to double the losses red would normally take to this AE due to these pathing issues that he got trapped here. With green having the water economy now and being able to secure his third, add in the fact that for MpT these are amazing third town center locations. Between this cliff being in the middle here and being so close together, allowing for the double mercenary production. It's not looking good for DoD at this point on this map. see the docks coming up from green right away. With this much fishing, he'll be able to pump trade caravans non-stop, and soon enough be merc spamming the crap. Again, Egyptian just so much stronger than Atlantean late game between the units, and then more than anything, just the rain siege. Once the Egyptian fortifies up with buildings and mercenaries, there's literally nothing the Atlantean player can do unless they get like a Titan or win by wonder. You're not going to be able to push in a fortified Egyptian with trade and mercenaries. As Atlantean, it's just not possible. See what's going on here, and basically blue and green are able to fight red 2 versus 1. I'm not sure where teal is, but as soon as red loses his destroyers, his archers and Arcus and Terma are just going to get picked apart by these slingers. Teal coming in, but so far teal's just taken out a tower and focused some vills. I think if teal had actually been in this fight killing units, they'd be in a much better position. This is a point in the game where DoD needs to make their push. Right when you get heroic, the destroyers and dryads are extremely strong, especially if the Egyptian players don't quite have priest out, or enough priest out yet. These dryads can tank a lot of damage from slingers especially. Looks like a bit of a misrally here from blue. I don't know how much of a factor it is here, but blue's got a lot of population tied up in water. Just as the push from red and teal gets going though, perfect AE timing from blue. Just in time that where he should be able to save this position. Teal's been heroic longer, so also with the better boom, I'd like to see teal get some more priests out to deal with these dryads. It also wouldn't hurt to throw up another mid goal here. Certainly okay. So, something I should have commented on earlier that I'm just realizing now, but gold starved. If you look at the gold position on this map, the forward gold for blue and green is really quite terrible. Aside from their starting gold, this would be blue's first large mine outside his base, and then this would be green, so MpT playing in a low gold situation at this point in the game, which probably makes getting enough priests out to defend against the dryads a bit more difficult. Also wisely see the tower spam coming out from teal. He wants to push blue off this mine. I don't know if he realizes how bad the gold star potential is. Green wisely and nicely securing up these gold mines here. You see him spamming the mid goals, trying to get this position fortified as much as possible. Red seemingly dropping back unit-wise a bit. Coming over here, but a bit late. Thing is, the clock's ticking for DoD. The longer the stalemate happens here, the more time MpT has to get their trade kicked in. Green especially, with the winning the water so cleanly early. Oh, and no heroic fishing ship upgrade. That kills me every time I see that, especially when you win water and have this many ships. I don't know if it's because he was gold starved and forgot about it, but would love to see that for green. He'd have so much more food at the moment, but green has been pumping trade off of 3 markets, so even if he just delays red knocking him off the gold with this first mid goal, while still having the gold here, the longer green delays, he should be fine after that. He's got enough trade pumping off all those markets that as long as he can delay a bit longer, the trade should be enough to kick in. The problem with trade is it's slow. takes a while before it really gets fully going. It also helps getting mythic as you get the speed increase upgrade, which makes it even more effective, so all players in the game still heroic, with TL being classical still. That's huge. Classical Islandian army is going to have a lot of difficulty matching up against the siege tower LE spam coming out of blue. Just in general, the Cheerio Ballista don't really do that well. You'd much rather have Arcus out. And then Destroyers and Dryads to tank the damage from the Slingers are also extremely effective units. Especially with blue having a much slower trade production than green, and then also having his gold mine under siege the whole time. Green doesn't really have the gold for priests, so if TL were heroic pumping Destroyers and Dryads, blue would be in a lot of trouble at the moment, but TL's not heroic, so blue's hanging in there just fine. Red knocks off this first mid goal, but again, green fortified another one, so he's still got 2 there. He's got the army, and again, it's just a matter of time before green's trade really kicks in. Blue's still with a lot of our population tied up to ships. I do like the fact that he finally moved out and took out TL's fishing. He actually could have done that a lot earlier. I didn't catch what happened to TL's ships, but if I had to guess, I think he just deleted them for the population for a land army. Didn't look like he traded them even against blues. So, some nice teamwork there from green. I guess they're not using TeamSpeak, so you get to see it in chat, but he wanted to make sure blue's okay. Even though green's tightly engaged in a fight here, I think green realizes this isn't critical position. At this point, he should have enough trade going, where if he gets knocked off this gold, it's not the end of the world. It's also not like his town centers do, whereas blue's town center's right here where the fighting's going on. And even green's town center could be vulnerable if blue's gets hit and taken out here. So, if blue were getting pushed back, green would give up this position, which he no longer needs, and make sure he fortified the more critical position with the town centers. Again, so much of this game revolves around town centers because of the 20 population they give you. Even going down a town center makes a huge difference, especially late game with trade and fishing as well. Depending on how many villagers they make, a lot of times players will still max out on villagers. So you're looking at upwards 80 to 100 population, maybe even over 100 population invested into economy in a water map like this in a team game. Eventually they'll lose villagers and bring that count down, especially once they get their trade fully going, but for now, they could easily have over 100 population committed to economy. So, that would leave just 60 for military, and then if you lose a town center, that drops that number to 40, which isn't really enough, so. With the fighting on a map like this, you want to fight more towards where the town center position is. Rather than fighting in open space like over here, which is meaningless. See TL's town center is here and blues is as well, so neither of them has a reason to side build at the moment. You can side build later on and potentially apply pressure, but the bigger concern, at least early on, is over where the town centers actually are and securing that position. Gold as well. I know it's a bit late in the game, 24 minutes at this point, but I probably should have called that earlier, but whereas Savannah last game had a ton of gold mines throughout the map, it looks like this was a low gold variation of this map. So that worked out into DoD's favor, more than likely, but at the same time, if the gold's really bad, they can end up just as gold starved as MpT, so see TL still gold mining on this one, even though fighting's going right on top of it, so. Same with, yeah, so teal. Red's got the trade now to handle his gold for the most part. But teal, not a lot of trade going for teal, so we actually could see teal getting gold starved here. Especially if blue can bump him off of this mine here. I don't really see a lot of other gold out on the map for teal to take advantage of. Almost no trade from teal. I guess it's because he doesn't have a food economy to support it. Concerns me a ton right now. I think we're going to see DoD getting gold starved. Or at least teal, at least. Red's got trade, so I don't think he'll get gold starved, but especially now that he's mythic. Let's see if he got the upgrade. Still no upgrade from red, but... Or sorry, teal got mythic, not red. That's why we don't see the upgrade. I saw the implode and assumed it was red. Okay, we see teal finally now starting to pump trade, but at this point, if he gets knocked off this mine, even if he loses those 3 villagers here, teal could be in a really bad spot gold-wise. Alright, green finally got the heroic fishing upgrade, so that should give him a ton of food economy. Okay, so I think this... Okay. This is green going back to chat where he complained about not having any trees, so... Okay. Andy's going for the town center. I originally thought he was gonna Vil rush the town center, but then I saw his wood camp here, but it looks like he changed his mind maybe, and went for the town center with his villagers. Add in the siege here, and it looks like he'll be able to take down the town center from red. Which again, if red can't reclaim it, that's 20 population, that's gonna be absolutely critical. Additionally, going back to having fishing ships, trade, villagers become expandable in this phase of the game. You over-eco early on in order to get like your economy up and get all the upgrades and stuff, but once you got enough economy and got into upgrades, you can tone it down a bit, and the way to do that is sort of throwing villagers away by doing risky stuff on the front line. Usually forward building, but in this case we saw the villagers taking down a town center. Extremely confused as to why green didn't meteor this position. Green really had red pretty much on the ropes in good games at this point. So I'm surprised the meteor didn't come out on teal's forward position with all these towers and teal's units. I think meteor here would have done a lot more damage than it did over here, and would be a lot more helpful for blue, who's in a much more even matchup with teal. Whereas green's pretty much going to be unstoppable at this point against red. You see the huge armory upgrade difference. Heroic and mythic for green, and just classical pierce for red, so... Can only imagine what the gold bank for green will be at this time. So we see the tap out. I'm guessing teal got gold starved. He had virtually no trade and only like 1 villager mining at that point in the game, so I assume teal ran out of gold. So you see DoD commenting about the town center positions. See a comment about saving trade. I'm guessing Bert's referring to the fact if they had trade, they could have just mercenary spammed to death out of the 2 town centers being so close together. So that's going to be it for this matchup. So as a result, MpT 2-0s DoD, meaning MpT still has one more match left in the division, third division for RTSL League, but if they win that 2-0, they play TCL, which they should beat 2-0. MpT will end up with the #1 seed for their division in the first round playoff bye, which it's a huge bye given how stacked the divisions, at least top heavy wise. All the playoff teams can probably beat the opposing teams on any given day, so dodging a extra matchup is always a good thing.